Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our very first Workforce Wednesdays webinar. My name is Sana Harris, and I'm the Employment Specialist here at the Economic Opportunity Board, that's EOB. And we are going to bring to you today two trainers. Our goal with the Workforce Wednesdays webinar is to re-educate and retrain the community and to help Nevada boost its economy. We have been hard hit by COVID, and as many of you know or may be aware, businesses are opening, events are opening, and the community is getting back to work. However, some of us may have decided to seek out a new career. Some of us may have decided to broaden our horizons and take some additional training. And some of us are just undecided. And that's okay, because EOB is here to help guide you, to help you to realize and know the resources that you have available to you in the community. And we want to help you to make that decision as much as we can. So we're bringing to you every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. right here on the EOB website, educators, trainers, employers. And we want to make sure that we have something for everyone, something that is going to benefit the entire community. At the end, you will have the opportunity to submit your resumes, and you will also have the opportunity to ask your questions. You can type them in the chat. You can also call if you missed this webinar or if you're reviewing it after it's been live. You can give us a call at the Economic Opportunity Board at 702-445-7105. If you missed the live webinar, you can also email your resumes into our workforce email. We have our technical trainer and Mr. Scott Bushman, who also assists us. Hi, Scott. He also assists us with our workforce supportive services development as well. That email that you can send your resumes to is going to be workforce@eobcapsnv.org. Once again, it's workforce@eobcapsnv.org. And so we are going to get right into our panelists today. We have Kelly Carpenter here with us today, and she's from Czech. Hi, Kelly.
Hi there.
She's from Czechs, and that is CQES, and that stands for, oh my goodness, that stands for Center for Quality Elder Services.
Right.
CQES, Center for Quality Elder Services. And they do medication management, they do PCA training, and they do much, much more. And so Kelly's going to explain that to you all as we get started. And we are also slotted to have Mr. Roberto Gomez Rubio here with us as well. And his training center does everything that is construction. So that's OSHA 10 to OSHA 30, forklift training, safety on the job, CPR, and much, much more. So I am going to go to Mr. Scott, and I'm going to have Scott introduce himself and explain kind of what his role is here at the Economic Opportunity Board.
Hi, I'm Scott Bushman. I'm the technical trainer, and what I do is a lot of training. And so one of the things that I'm going to be involved with in this particular course is that if you have need for a resume, you've never had one, you haven't had one recently, my job is going to be to help people to work on their resumes. My boss says I will be doing up to 50 resumes per week. So that's going to be fun, and I'm delighted to do it, because I know that a lot of people they have no idea how to do a current resume. Some of the people that are in the job market right now have not had to create a resume for over 20 years because they've had the same job or they've been inside the same company. And so it was lateral or upward moves rather than getting a new job. And so it's a totally different thing. And another thing that I'm working on for training is teaching people how to do things like we're working with right now, because this could be your next job interview, just exactly like what we're looking at right now. We tease about it and call it the Brady Bunch interview, because that's what it looks like, is the old Brady Bunch picture. But it just makes it so that it gives you an opportunity to get an idea of what it's going to be like now compared to what it was like in the olden days. And so that's my chance to kind of get you a chance to move up into current what's working, and also get you a resume that works currently also, because they haven't used an objective since 2000, and there's a lot of people out there that don't know that. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get everybody's resume up to date, get it so that you fit in and feel more comfortable, and so that you are aware of things like, okay, if I'm doing an online interview, I've got to make sure I've got a nice background instead of, my dirty bedroom.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Scott. Let's go on and get right into it. We're going to present to you Ms. Kelly Carpenter. Kelly, would you introduce yourselves and give us an overview of what CHECS offers to the community?
Yes, I am Kelly Carpenter, and Gretchen Batiste is the owner and operator and teacher of CHECS, and I'm her assistant. She does the teaching, she's the brains, and I do everything else. I do all the paperwork, I keep everything organized, put it all together, get all the enrollments, do all the faxing, do all of everything that needs to be done paperwork wise. She gets all of the computer stuff going. She teaches everybody each week, and I make sure everything is taken care of and gets to the state so you're certified and can move on with your career. And then on top of that, we've done some things recently in the last year to build more of a community.
Okay.
When you're here, you're educating, and while you're educating and you're finished, your education doesn't end, especially if you're medication management. And so we've taken steps to where we've created a Facebook page where we'll put up-to-date regulations, where we have job postings, where people can actually come on that are students only and can have a safe space to ask questions. So if they're at a company and they have some questions about going on, regulations, things like that, they can come back to us. And
Great.
they can get clarified and, make sure that they're doing things right. So when they're done their training is not finished with us. And that includes job hunt and things like that.
And so that's that additional support that a lot of us are looking for. Once we finished our training, we still may need a little bit more guidance. And so we're looking on where can we find employment? What if I have questions? So
Yes.
That's that additional support and guidance that's very much needed.
We've gone a step further than that, because we train everyone. We train the administrators. We train the owners. So when they're being trained on those Zoom classes, there are people are actually getting hired in class.
Oh,
so like we're talking now, and there's a couple people in class, and one's an administrator. Someone's already hired. And that happens regularly.
That is exciting.
It's really exciting, because that person really gets to interact with those administrators.
Right.
Okay. And so then what's been happening is those administrators, because they're trained with us and they know Gretchen's training and her level of training, is they come back to us for students. So then we've created a Facebook page that is for our students only. No one else gets to see it. And the administrators contact me with their job postings like they would do on Indeed. They give them to me.
Oh, wow.
And I put them on that Facebook page for our students only.
And so that's that personal touch.
That is that personal touch, because then they get to see that ad. And sometimes it may be an administrator that just, because they can post it as well if they were a student. And then the students and the administrators are interacting together on our website or on our Facebook page for jobs, which is really, yeah.
That is a great resource. I'm so glad that you all decided to do that, because it kind of sets you apart from other training centers.
It does.
That close, intimate relationship where administrators can see the students, they can see their work, they can ask questions, and the students can ask questions, and those resources are exclusive for those students.
Right. And the other thing that we've done, my background is in HR as well. I have a background doing that. And so I've even taken it a step farther. We don't actually say, okay, go here, you're hired. We say there's a bunch of jobs online.
Mhm.
You then get to go apply for those jobs. We're giving you those steps. Okay. There are some times that I'll have somebody send me some resumes because I do work for the hospice and the memory care. And so I'll submit for those jobs. Okay. I'll get the resumes back. I was a headhunter and I'm like, as Scott said, the resumes have changed over the years. So
Right.
I'll kind of talk to them and kind of, actually, I had a young lady last week. I'm like, okay, no, we need to do some adjusting to this resume if you want a job, you know?
Right. Right.
So I'll even do that. That I do a little bit, I go a little bit farther beyond, but that's just kind of who I am and what I like to do for people to help them work. You know, it's hard when you're trying to get started or get started in a new career.
Right.
You know? The other thing I want to add about that online thing, the students, we've actually had administrators tell us to tell our students once they've applied online to
Mhm.
actually call them and let them know that they've applied and they're Miss Gretchen's student, and they'll immediately pull the resumes.
Oh, great.
I had that word for word. I was shocked when I had an administrator say, I said, well, someone applied and they never got a response. She
Mhm.
said, well, I didn't know they applied, that they were from you guys. She said, they need to call me and tell me right away that they're a Gretchen student and I'll pull them right away.
Wow, that's amazing. That
It
is
really is.
amazing. Can we talk about your training classes? So someone who has never heard of checks,
Mhm.
someone who doesn't have any medical or healthcare background at all is deciding, maybe I want to do some PCA work, or maybe medication management it might be my niche. So what services, what classes do you offer?
We offer a PCA direct care worker.
Mhm.
Okay. And what that is that's a caregiver that's going to work either in an assisted living, a group home, or a memory care. Okay. And depending on what they're going to work in, it's just going to vary depending on the name of it and what you actually have to do for your training. So if we have a PCA course, and that is an online course.
Mhm.
Okay. And that is the caregiving fundamentals, and that's 10 CEUs. Okay. So if anyone needs CEUs, we are accredited to offer CEUs through the nursing board.
Great.
Okay. So CNAs that need to get CEUs, we can do that.
Okay.
So they have the caregiving, and that's an online course. Okay. For someone that has no experience at all, we have a course that actually has clinicals. So it's the online course, and they would do all of their training online, and they would take their test online. And then once they have finished their test, they would then get a voucher to go to a company that we're working with. It's called Lifesavers.
Okay.
And Lifesavers is an amazing company. The woman that owns it, Alexis Lodge, she is a nurse, and she is also a CNA trainer. She has first aid and CPR as well. So she has created a clinical program that she does 2 times a week, and she has 2 time slots for us that they'll go in for 5 hours and they'll do hands-on.
Wow.
They're then going to get that training of the hands-on clinicals. Okay.
It sounds like you all have covered all of your bases.
We really have. And that's why with Alexis, we also have her, and we work hand in hand with her regularly, because everyone that goes out there needs CPR, needs the first aid.
Right.
And so they're doing their clinicals and they're right there. You know, and they can also talk with Alexis for future once they've moved on, they've become the PCA or what have you, and say they want to move on and become a CNA. Well, they've already built a connection and a relationship with Alexis, and they know where to go to do that. Okay.
Absolutely amazing.
So that's the caregiving. All right. And then we also have the refreshers for them to come back yearly.
Okay.
For the PCA and the care for the direct care worker. Okay. And then with that, we also have medication management. We have a 16-hour Zoom course weekly, and every week it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
And we normally have about 15 students, so it's very intimate, and they're able to interact with Gretchen very intimately, as well as the other students. Like we were talking with administrators, and people can just interact just like you and I are interacting right now. And then once they're finished that class, they come in the following week to do their state test, and then they're certified. And then once they're certified, then they're able to go on our students only page
Mhm.
and start looking for a job. Some may already have a job, or their company may have said, okay, well, you know, you're working, go in and get that. But
Mhm.
otherwise, we send them on their way, and, you know, we give them the resources that they need. They come back to us regularly. I love that part of it, that they come back to us regularly. Questions, I'm looking for a better job, or I need a second job, you know,
Right.
because we even get private duty jobs. I get really cool jobs to put on that Facebook thing. So people really love that.
Great.
And then with the medication management, you have to have a refresher each year. So we
Mhm.
have an online course, that's the medication 8-hour refresher. And so
Mhm.
before their renewal is up, we send out a reminder letting them know that they need to do their refresher. And then they can go online and do the refresher, and then they would come in and do their state test with us for the refresher each year.
Absolutely.
And then we have some other online courses. We have mental health, mental illness, and developmental disabilities. That's an 8 CEU course. We have chronic illness, that's also 8 CEUs. We have aging overview, and we have elder abuse, which is an annual course that everyone needs to take. That's a PCA, and
Right.
it's working in that field. Okay. And then Gretchen is also working currently. She's just about finished with an Alzheimer's and dementia course, as well as a diabetes education.
Oh, wow.
That has to be done separately.
Right.
So those few courses are in the works. She's just, I mean, she just has a few fine tuning left on the memory care. But that one is huge because there's so many facilities in this town, and we're going back to education and people knowing, because when someone's walking in the door and not knowing anything and
Mhm.
not having any idea where to start, they need to know something.
Right.
You know, even the mental illnesses. And sometimes it may even just be for their own benefit. They may have family members, you know,
Absolutely.
and that happens, that they have that. So those are the courses that we currently have. Everything is either online or the Zoom.
Mhm.
Okay. And it is just what she does and how she teaches it, it sticks with people.
Mhm.
And that's what's really wonderful about it, and her classes. That's a really great thing. So those are the ones that we currently have.
Okay, and so just to do a brief recap, your training classes are online only, no in
Yes.
person.
We have nothing in person right now. We used to be in person, but
Mhm.
due to COVID, everything had to change.
Right.
And so she's redeveloped things, and we've gotten the Zoom course and then the online things. Yes.
Okay. And so what is the time length of your trainings? Are they all a certain amount of weeks or a certain amount of
No,
days?
the Zoom is 3 days a week. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day.
Mhm.
Wednesday and Thursday, it's from 8:45 till about 1:30.
Okay.
And Friday, it's 8:45 until about 3:30. And it's always approximate because it is an intimate class. Sometimes it may last a little longer. You know, if they get into some really intimate detail, you know, stuff with going on with the vaccines and all stuff, I've
Right.
seen them run a little bit longer because they just really get into learning about that and asking questions.
Right.
So you have the 3 days, and then normally it's the following week to do your test.
Mhm.
The online courses are at your own pace.
Okay.
So, you know, you could definitely do them in between another job or taking care of a family member, different things like that.
Mhm.
It's at your own pace. So the class is a 10-hour CEU, so
Mhm.
it's equivalent to 10 hours,
Mhm.
but it just really depends on how long they take to do it. They could
Great.
sit down and get it done over a day, you know,
Mhm.
and then move on. Or they could do it over a week or two. It just depends on their schedule.
Okay.
The
Okay.
Zoom is the only thing that is actually time sensitive as far as having to be here, being on the computer. Everything else is pretty much at your own pace.
Sounds good. So if you are just tuning in with us on this live webinar, we are talking with Kelly Carpenter from CHECS, and they are offering direct care, CPA training, medical management training, and much, much more. If you're already a CNA or in the medical field and you need CEUs, CHECS is your spot. You can also notify or call EOB. That's our number is 702-445-7105. Give us a call if you may not be able to afford this training on your own, because we are here to assist, to re-educate, and help the community get retrained. So if you're having some difficulties, maybe you have not returned to work, maybe you have not received your unemployment yet, maybe you're barely able to get your bills paid, but you need to get into a new career, you need some additional training. EOB, the Economic Opportunity Board, is here to help give you that leg up. We're here to help support you and get you back out there in the workforce. So please send your resumes in. Even if you have questions, give us a call. The place where you can send your resume, the email where you can send your resume to is workforce@eobcapsnv.org. You can also go to our website, eobcapsnv.org, and you can download our application, and there are so much more resources and information that's listed on our website as well. And so thank you, Kelly. Let me ask you, how was your industry affected by the pandemic?
Wow. It was destroyed. It was destroyed, honestly. And that is the truth. I have had administrators call us, and it gives me the chills to think about it, because I've had administrators who've had staff completely wiped out because of COVID. And they call, they're like, we are so desperate. Everybody has COVID. We don't have anybody to take care of our people.
Oh my goodness.
Can you, I just can't even imagine. I've been in that business, and I can't imagine being an administrator and having people being taken care of or in a facility and then nobody taking care of them because they have COVID.
Right.
And that's really what's happened, is that it's almost like a domino effect, because the original, I have a binder full, no, I'm going to say a folder full of people that I'm waiting to be able to go back to take the class because they may have gotten COVID last year. And still have never been able to get back in to be able to take the class because they've not recovered enough.
Right.
And those are people out there taking care of people that can't get back in to do their job. You know, so now we're trying to find people. There is such a demand, such a huge demand for caregivers and med techs. It's unreal. I'm constantly searching. On my Facebook page, I'm constantly looking for caregivers just to hand out to the administration around town, because there's such a lack of it. And that comes from the pandemic, because people are wiped out. Number one, they're also wiped out and they're home taking care of their own family who have COVID and can't go to work.
Right, right. I can imagine.
That's a regular these things happen so regularly. The outside world really doesn't realize. You know, those caregivers, we see the doctors and the nurses on TV, but we don't see the ones that are cleaning the diapers and changing the diapers and giving the medication and those kinds of things. And everyone is so, it's imperative to have every single one of those people, because otherwise that person that is the actual caregiver, when there's no one there, that's our mom or grandparent laying in a hospital bed or a memory care bed, maybe in a wet diaper for all day because there's no one to take care of them.
Right. And it's unfortunate.
It really is.
It's unfortunate, but if you are seeking a new career, and if you think that this medical field is for you, it can be very rewarding. I know that a lot of us are a little bit uneasy, you know, because we're in the midst of a pandemic. As I mentioned earlier, the vaccines are rolling out. People are feeling a little bit more safe. They're feeling a little bit less concerned. And this, as you mentioned, there's a high demand in healthcare, a high demand in the medical field. And this is a training that you can complete. You can begin a totally new career
in a week.
Within a week.
For real, in a week.
Very rewarding. Let's talk about the pay. What is the pay like?
Well, it's going to vary on what you're doing, where you're working. I'm going to say between $12 and $15 an hour normally to start. Okay. The one thing that we are starting to see throughout the community is that they're wanting to have caregivers that have medication management together.
Mhm.
Okay, because then those caregivers, the PCA, they can also do the medication management as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so then that's obviously going to pay a little bit more.
Right.
And my rule of thumb is the more education you have, the more that you can demand, because you're worth it.
Exactly.
You know, and that's one of the things that we have. If you're a PCA and you're going to work in a memory care, you know what? You need to take that Alzheimer's dementia course, because you need to know the basics. You're
Right.
going to go on and you're going to have that learning as you go. But as we were talking about before, you need to know the basics of Alzheimer's and dementia, you know, because you have to have a thick skin in some of those circumstances.
Right.
And so that is really the huge thing out there with the money.
Mhm.
I always tell my friends, I tell my girls that I've taken care of people with, I know their experience. You know what? You ask for it. You
Right.
take care of people, you're worth it. If you're a good caregiver, you ask for it. All they can say is no,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but if you educate yourself and, you know, every couple of months, add on a $75 class or add on this or do that, then you can go back to your boss and say, you know what, I'm a PCA, I'm a med tech, and you know what, now I know memory care, and now I know mental illness. You know what, that deserves a little bit more money.
Right. Absolutely.
You
So
know,
it's
and
like it's a
let me
starting.
say this, Sana. The interesting thing is that these aren't pocket breaking courses. These
Mhm.
aren't courses that it's a $3,000 course or even a $500 course. It's something that's very, very in everyone's financial situation these days, which is not good. It's very easy to access, even if you have to borrow $200.
Right.
You know, $200 for a change of career is amazing, especially that you're going to go out and you're going to be able to be making a decent living
Mhm.
that someone may have only been making $7 an hour before or $8 an hour before. And now you're able to go and do better for your family,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
and it's something you can be proud of.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I think it's important that we mention, well, as you stated just now, it's a starting place. It's a place to
Yes.
start, it's a place to get
Yes.
your feet wet, and you can always move up. Maybe you are starting out as a med tech and a direct caregiver, and now you're ready to go into phlebotomy, or now you're ready to go into CNA. But it's giving you a leg up and a starting place.
Well, let me add this, Sana. The other thing that is really wonderful is when I have these men and women come in, because the medication management, the PCA, that's part of what you do to get started to be an administrator or a group homeowner. That's regularly, that's a regular occurrence. I bet you we have one person a week periodically that will be calling in and starting doing their medication management because they want to be a group homeowner and they want to get that started, or a husband and wife who will do their PCA classes and get the full thing done because they're going to start their own PCA company. So it's not even just a point of, okay, I'm going to go up to CNA now. They may
Right.
want to be a business owner.
Right.
You know, with all of these things out there now, the world is changing with business licenses
Mm-hmm.
and with grants and loans and all of that kind of stuff. It's definitely a starting point for someone that didn't have something to look forward to, because there's so many possibilities with it.
Great. You all are really doing your part to rejuvenate this community, and I'm so glad that you
Absolutely.
have adjusted your services and adjusted your program, and you're adding on classes. Let me ask you, Kelly, what does the ideal applicant look like? So what does the ideal person that is going to be a great med tech, that is going to be an amazing direct care worker, what does that person look like?
Well, first of all, you have to be caring. You
Mhm.
have to be a caring person. You need to have, you have to have thick skin.
Mhm.
Okay. Because when you're taking care of someone that is sick, they're not always nice. And you
Right.
can't take it personally because
Right.
you're in there to help them. So you need to be compassionate and
Mhm.
just let whatever they're saying just roll right off your back, you
Mhm.
know, because you don't know what they're going through. So that is really one thing that's huge. You have to be organized. You have to be very detailed, because what you're doing is affecting their life. If you've given medication and you didn't mark it down on the MAR that you gave a medication and you can't remember, and then you go back and give them medication again, there's a problem there, you know? So you have to be very organized. You have to be able to, have good physical strength. You know, if you're taking care of somebody, you may have to move somebody, or you may have to transfer them, or different things. You may have to lift something, you know, so you have to be in some good physical, you have to be good physically, okay? You have to have a good memory. You really do. Because for one, you're learning and you have to remember what you're learning, but you also then have to carry that forth onto your job.
Right.
And you have to be somebody that wants to do it. Start that career and want to make a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
I have somebody joining
Hello.
us. There's Miss Gretchen.
How you doing?
We can't see you.
How
We
are
know.
you?
There she is.
How's it going here?
It is going amazing. Kelly is doing an amazing job. She's telling us about all the services and resources you have available to the community, and I'm excited. So I'm assuming that our viewers are excited as well. And we're just so happy with all the changes you're making since COVID. And we're excited that you're adding on new training courses with the diabetes and the other courses. So you are doing an amazing job for the community.
Thank you. Well, we love what we're doing. We're just those who read lead, and that's our motto over here. And we're going to make sure people know how to read after they leave my school.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let you continue, and I'm going to have lunch so I can get back to teaching.
All right.
Miss Gretchen's in
Stay
class
safe.
right now. There's a med class going on right now as we're having this.
Okay. So it's always busy at checks.
It is always busy at checks. Yes, it is. But that back to who is the ideal candidate. It's really somebody that wants to take care of somebody. And it may be somebody who doesn't think that they may have done it in the past. They may have taken care of their grandmother, or they may have taken care of someone else in the past, and they didn't think about being a caregiver.
Right.
You know, and this is a new opportunity, because people may say, well, I don't have any experience. I only took care of my grandmother. Well, you know what? That's experience.
The best,
because you have the compassion and you've learned in the beginning, because you're taking care of the people that you're now going out to take care of someone else's family member. So you've learned to take care of that person on your own. Now you're coming to us to get the official training.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you've learned that compassion and that caring by doing for yourself. And a lot of people don't feel like that's experience, but that's huge. That's huge.
It is that real life experience. They say life is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher.
Absolutely.
That is definitely a plus, you know, if you're deciding to go into this medical training. Let me ask you, where predominantly do your students find employment once they've completed your course?
Group home, okay, memory care, or PCA companies.
Okay.
Okay, those are going to be your main ones.
Okay, great. And let me just remind our listening audience, if you have questions, please submit them in the chat box, and we will do our best to get your questions answered. Even if we run out of time on this live, you can still submit your questions on our website or at the email address, which is workforce@eobcapsnv.org. And Kelly, please tell our listeners how they can find you, your website, your address, your phone number.
Okay, well, our website, our official website is CQES.org, CQES.org. Okay, our phone number is 702-489-5822. And it's just Miss Gretchen and myself here. And let's see, my email is assistantgb@gmail.com. Miss Gretchen's email is CQES. Which one? Sorry, Miss Gretchen just handed me a note. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was giving Miss Gretchen's email is cqes@cqes.org. Okay. And so people can go online and enroll in the medication management course. Again, we have one every week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The schedule is on our website. Okay. And they can then also go on and register for any of the online classes.
Okay.
Okay. And those are going to be the basic ways to, to get a hold of us.
Okay, great, great. And that information, if you need to go back to this webinar, you can easily access it. It'll be here for you. Let me just again remind our viewers that if you are having problems, this training is something you can complete in a week. It's about $200, so it's not much. But we do understand that we are in the midst of a pandemic. So if you're having problems to pay for that course, or if you need some assistance, give EOB a call, shoot us an email, go onto the website, do your pre-application, a pre-screen application, and we will contact you within 24 to 48 hours. We are here to re-educate and retrain the community and do our part in reboosting the economy. Thank you, Kelly, so much for all of the information, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with you. And I am hoping that the community is feeling the same as well. So you guys are going to be even more busy in these next coming weeks.
That will be wonderful. And thank you for having us.
Welcome. You're so welcome. And let's go over to Mr. Scott Bushman now. Scott, can you tell us about what our viewers can find on our website in regards to resumes?
Okay, we have posted some resume information. There will be additional information that's posted here shortly as to what needs to be in your resume. Maybe a couple of sample resumes will be posted. And we're going to be working on giving people ideas for what's the best way to work on your resume. The interview process, the typical 21 questions that you might get asked in an interview, and good answers to give to those. The primary question is always going to be, tell me about yourself. And they don't want to know about your cat. They don't care whether you learned how to ballroom dance. They want to know what kind of employer they're going to get. And so if you know that, it makes it a whole lot easier going in, and you can kind of be prepared for those questions that just, how many golf balls can you fit into a Cadillac? They don't really want to know how many golf balls fit into a Cadillac. What they want to know is, how do you handle surprises? Because there are going to be surprises in work. And so they give them to you in an interview just to find out how you react. And so it's okay to stop for a minute and go, man, I never even thought about that before. Give me a second. And then give a heartfelt answer that indicates that you're going to be a good employee for them. And that's what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
So some of those things are going to be available to you. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You and I will be available to answer their questions. That's workforce@eobcapsnb.org. And we're going to be available to help you on that. And I'm just excited that we get the opportunity to help people out with their resumes, give them an opportunity to get back to work. Once you've been to Kelly and gotten training there, we need to pop that on to the end of your resume that you've gotten some additional training. Once you've worked for one of those companies for 6 to 8 months, you need to add that to your resume so that now you're keeping up on it. So just be aware of the fact that your resume is always a living, breathing document. It's not etched in stone. And you need to also know that your resume has to be updated for every single company that you apply for.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
have applied for jobs as a trainer because that's one of the things I do. But if they want a teacher, I just became a teacher instead of a trainer. It's that fast to change it in a Word document.
Right.
So just be aware of if they want a life coach, hey, I became a life coach instead of a trainer or a teacher. You've got to modify your resume to fit what they're needing. And it's just verbiage, but you have to realize there are key words that need to be there in your resume that they're looking for. And most of the time, if you look at the job posting, it's pretty easy to see what they're looking for. Don't lie ever, ever, ever on your resume. But if it's just a matter of changing wordage, let's do it. If I modify a word here and a word there to be able to make it so it fits, I got a job.
Right, right. So it sounds like a resume or resume writing is not a one and done. Most of us are applying for several positions, and one resume is not going to fit all of those positions. So Scott is here. I am also available if you need help to write a resume. If you just want someone to take a look at it and say, what do you think about this? How does this sound? Maybe you're having problems with the background or the font or the coloring or the design of your resume. EOB is the place for you. Again, you can log on to our website, eobcapsnv.org. There's tons of how-to videos. If that is not helpful to you, you can give us a call at 702-445-7105, and we are here to help the community. Also, our other intended guest for today was RGR Construction and Training Center. There was an emergency, and so Roberto was not able to be here with us today, but I just want to reiterate to you that you can go to that website, rgrtrainingcenter.com, and they are offering OSHA 10 and OSHA 30 certifications, forklift certifications, CPR training as well. They are doing safety management on the job site and much, much more. Again, that website is rgrtrainingcenter.com. We may be able to have Roberto as a guest on another webinar, but please tune in April 21st for our next webinar, where we will have Tech Impact, and we will also have Nevada Professional Studies. Both of those educators are going to be focusing on IT training and digital media. So that is going to be very exciting, and we hope that you tune in and join us, because we know that the world is changing, careers are changing, workforce is changing, and it's moving into a different direction. And so IT and digital media is at the top of that list. We are still quarantining in many states, in many cities. We are still producing more and more remote opportunities, more work from home careers. And some of us are starting our own businesses, and those will be remote as well. So that IT training and that digital media is going to be very, very important for this new economy, for this new workforce that we're embracing.
Kelly, did you have a comment?
I have a question, actually. It's a resume question. How many pages these days should a resume be? 15 or 20?
A 15 to 20 page resume if you are going to be the head of the medical department for UCLA. You're going to be the director for one of the departments at UNLV. If you have a regular job, if you're going to be working as a chef or a waitress or something where it's basically, if you're not going to be making more than $50 an hour, you don't need to have more than one page.
Okay.
I usually tell people, here's the thing to look at. If you have a very long career, you have to remember you still want to keep it down to the last 10 years worth of information.
Okay.
It's not a life history. It's something that's going to get you an interview. That's what it's for.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. It's okay to leave one or two things out. Make sure that what you do pinpoints your skills for this job.
Okay, can I ask you another question with that?
Yeah.
I have some caregivers that I will get, once they're finished, they'll send their resume. And say they've only had one job or two jobs as a caregiver 15 years ago, and nothing to do with that since then. They've done our school and they've just had a few jobs here and there. How would you think that that would be best for them to do a resume?
Okay, what I would still do on the resume, I'd do what we call a functional resume,
Okay,
which at the top of it shows your skills for this particular job.
okay,
And then down at the bottom, you still post your jobs in order. But in this case, you would go back to 15 years ago when you were doing this type, so that it shows you had the job
gotcha. Okay,
and that you have the skills. But don't focus on your belly dancing career job things. Talk about the ones that are going to get you this job.
gotcha. Okay, perfect, perfect.
Yeah, and again, if they have any questions, I would be more than happy to help anybody with a resume. Just send that resume to
Wonderful.
workforce@eobcsmb.org. And guys, we are building placards for this so that we can show it like they do on the television.
Perfect. Thank you for your answers, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we've covered all our bases for this webinar. Kelly, thank you once again. You guys are doing great work in the community. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time today. Scott, thank you as well for your input, and thank you for all that you are doing to help get Nevada back to work with these amazing resumes we're going to be producing. And again, let me give the phone number, 702-445-7105. That email is going to be workforce@eobcapsnv.org. And please remember to tune in April 21st, Wednesday after next, where we will have Tech Impact and Nevada Professional Studies, who are going to focus in on IT and digital media. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been wonderful. I hope that you have more awareness on opportunities and resources that are available to you in the community. And please, please give us a call, because we are here to help.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And stay safe and be well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're on mute.